morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Andy Serling, Anthony Stabile. Ready to talk about our 9-race card today at Aqueduct. Starting to rain a little bit. I know they have the track listed as fast, but feels like with some showers around, the track will be changing a bit during the day. We'll talk about the races in just a moment. You'll sign up for Naira Bets. That's what you do. Have a Naira Bets, sign up, match them at $200, use promo code Big A, and then you can get done. If we have any time left at the end of the show, we'll mention the races down in Florida today. Obviously, the Pegasus lost a lot of luster when Omaha Beach came out as well as Spun to Run. Race number 1, Bill Mott has 2 in here, including Modernist, who scratched actually at a mile about 2 weeks ago. Did Modernist scratch? Sounds about right. Here he is finishing 3rd behind Cost Basis and Kingmeister. We saw Kingmeister, the Mark Hennig horse, who's in the middle of horses, come back and run well to beat another Chad Brown favorite, actually down in Florida. That horse that tried the turf would run a big figure at Keeneland. And Kingmeister a half to Strike Power. I actually thought Modernist ran pretty well in this race. I mean, he was kind of close, and then he dropped out, I think, when the race sped up a little in the middle. I'm not going to try to beat him. I mean, these horses going on these 1-5s, obviously we're an hour before post time, so he'll come up. He's going to be a heavy favorite. I don't see any reason to try to bet against him, though.
I thought he scratched out of the race that Cowtown ran second in. I thought he scratched out of the 2-turn race.
I don't think so. You might be right. You might be right. You might be right.
I think he did.
You may be right.
And now he waits for the next one.
It was a month ago?
Yeah, I know. This year's going very quickly.
Maybe you're right, because that's a 5-horse field. It may have originally been a 6-horse field.
I think he came out, I think, with Rudy outside post.
Right, I think you're right, because I remember I didn't love Portos, and I was saying that I wanted both of them in case Portos won.
Yeah, and now they wait to run him the 9 furlongs again.
He probably was sick or something.
Yeah.
Let's see, when was that?
That was...
yeah, he didn't work for 2 weeks after that race, so you're probably right.
Probably missed him.
Yeah.
So he comes back now, and he's in the spot where Bill wanted to run him in his final race as a 2-year-old last year on New Year's Eve. He's back for this is the next one up. He's back in this one. He catches another short field. And, I mean, if he has to deal with what's running here, his biggest competition may come from his stablemate, Distorted Sky, if he can dirt.
This is not a Bill Mott move.
No.
Turf to dirt, second starting maidens. He's 2 for 30, 66-cent ROI. I don't see a pedigree that's screaming that this horse should be getting onto the dirt. There's one dirt horse in there that was pretty good, but after that, it's really all turf.
More often than not, it's the other way around. He'll sometimes prep the good turf horses. He'll give them a race on the dirt just to get them some racing experience. Yagley and Garbu both come to mind. They were both Grade 1 winners. He did that with them. It was a while
25 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but he does that.
Cowtown Cat, obviously, is the other horse that has experience in here. And I'm not sure he's not supposed to be the second choice in this race. He's got the experience going long. He can handle a wet track. And while he's not much horse, I think he's a much more likely winner than Distorted Sky.
I kind of understand where David's coming from here. Distorted Sky with a little improvement on dirt. I know Cowtown's already run, but I mean his races.
Right, there's no overbet his turf figure, which is meaningless.
Yeah.
We'll see if it matters. We'll find out in about an hour. Race number 2. A lot of the scratches did affect the races today. We lost some key players in some of the races. I'm surprised at the number of scratches on today's card. We saw none in yesterday's card, and today, for whatever reason, there's a plethora of scratches. Obviously, business cycle matters coming out of this race. I suppose Too Fast to Pass. You have on top is the horse to beat. We've seen Drawing Away and Acia Villa be on a monstrous run over the last couple of months. This was a non-field that he beat. I guess he's the horse to beat. I wasn't thrilled with him, but I guess he's the horse to beat.
A lot of the speed came out of here too now, right? With Lucky 6.
Well, the speed was Captain Frost. So Sublime is the speed at this point.
You know, now he's the speed.
And 10-13 will be sitting second. But 10-13 is a little tough to take off his last race.
Yes, he is. Yes,
but he is dropping significantly. Clay Greenbarn actually has good numbers dropping down, and I think he has to be respected. You like the 6 more than I do. Talk about him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really much to say in there. He's shown some consistency at these bottom level claimers, and it's just something, quite frankly, we don't see recently. Yeah, and I think with these horses, that's the most important thing. When you get to the $8,000 and $10,000 level, even the 12.5, if you can find some consistency. I mean, this horse has enough positional speed where he'll be off a horse like So Sublime, and like you said, 3-13, who should be the one sitting second. I just see him sitting third and picking these horses up. I think with the speed out of here, he's the one least affected because he's going to be the one that's going to be kind of in the same spot he'd have been in with the speed.
Yeah, I took a flyer with Where's Rudy in here. Hector Diaz obviously off his mounts. He had the spill the other day. We hope to have him back in about 3 weeks.
I think Valentine's Day is the target.
Wish him the best of luck and hope that his recovery is quick, and look forward to Hector coming back, obviously, and just glad that he's okay, and hopefully we'll be back in the saddle very soon. Jorge Vargas is the mount. He's going to have to get in the game. I just figured I don't really love Too Fast to Pass. I guess Poshki, the 9, is sort of the moto other horse here. At times he likes a wet track. He's completely and totally unreliable from race to race, but when he shows up, he's capable of winning, and I would certainly use him in here. But I thought with Where's Rudy, he's an all or nothing play. He may not be able to run at all anymore, but I do sometimes think these drop downs to the bottom level wake these horses up, and given that he won't even be anywhere near the favorite in this race, I thought I'd take a shot with him on top. He obviously has races that will win this race. Whether or not he's capable of running them anymore is very debatable. His recent form is bad, but sometimes the drop down to the lower levels will wake a horse up.
Sure.
And this is one of the lowest levels we run.
That's what you're hoping if you like him, I think.
Race number 3. Race number 3. What did you do in race number 3? Oh, you got Frosted Ice on top. We'll show his race when he won, I believe, the Bertram Baumgard.
Yes.
This is back in September of 2018. He won this. I was in Martha's Vineyard. Happily. I don't know, Anth. I don't know if you can trust this horse. I look up his stat. I forgot to send stats in. I got all distracted. I was out of town. Synthetic to dirt for James Chapman. He's 1 for 19 over the last 5 years, and a bunch of them were short prices, and it's 15-cent ROI.
So, I did not know that stat.
I know you didn't.
And to be completely honest with you, I don't think that stat would be as relevant today as it would be ordinarily. Because to me, he hasn't run since May. Obviously, he has struggled getting back. I'm sorry? Well, let me explain what I'm trying to say. To me, he needed to get this horse going. And I don't think there was any real, I don't think there were any delusions that this horse was going to be ready to roll on his first time synthetic.
I'm not saying it's the be all and end all. I'm just pointing it out. I'm not betting
I
against the
understand
horse
what you're saying.
because of the stat. I'm betting against the horse because he ran 2 races last year and they stunk. And now we basically haven't seen the horse. And I think it's very unlikely he's going to get back to his best form. And to be honest with you, if Le General can still run anymore, his best form is so much better than Frostite. I also don't agree with David. I don't think Frostite is going to be a distant 4th choice in this race. I think a lot of people are going to see exactly what you see here. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not way against him. I've got him 3rd. But I don't see how he's going to be 8-1 in here. I actually thought he could be 2nd choice in here.
Yeah, I could see you both being right. And truth be told, if David's right, I might be in trouble.
Yeah, that's also a good point.
If David's right, I might be in trouble here. I thought about Le General, like you said, he has back races that would absolutely drown these horses. Are we convinced that Michelle running him 3 times on the turf doesn't lead us to believe that this horse may have lost a step on the dirt?
Well,
that's what I have to think that based on how sharp the barn is.
I don't know how many non-winners of 2 New York bred races they ran that he could have run in that period. It's not as though he ran horrendously on the turf.
He didn't.
So she wanted to give him a chance while it was turf season, knowing she's got all winter to run him on the dirt. So I don't know. And I'm not in love with him. I just think he's a better horse than these horses. I'm more scared of horses like Spiteful Kitten in this race, to be honest. I think Spiteful Kitten showed last time he could still run. The Jimmy Bond Barn, another good winter for those guys.
Ryan and
Ryan doing a great job.
An amazing job. An amazing job.
Why can't this horse be a factor?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what's the envision here? I mean, Le General's going to go to the lead, and he's got to be on the chase.
Hushin's going to lead. He'll be stalking outside of Hushin, and he'll be sitting probably 3rd. I don't know where you come up with this chase thing. What is the difference between stalking and chasing to you? You don't seem to make a distinction. You think any horse that's not in the lead is chasing?
No, I don't.
But you say this a lot.
I don't believe.
Why would he be? Just can stalk the pace, right?
I don't know.
Like he did last time. I'm not sure what that means.
I never understood.
Why would you like Vickers Legend in here?
How's
he going to? I mean, when he won, he got ridiculous setups in his favor. Ridiculous setups.
He did, but to me,
it's worse horses.
But to me, he has 2 horses here. I don't trust Le General.
Okay, so you don't like Le General.
I don't trust Hushin. So if I think they can put a little speed on here with Spiteful Kitten in the mix. I got to think, and that barn's still going well. Twisted Tom won again yesterday. This was going to be a big price. I'm not saying they're going to cook like they did when he picked them up the first time he won for the barn, but he's going to get some pace to run at. In a field of suspect horses, he's a horse that's kind of in form, and he's going to be a big price.
Okay. I thought the race would be dominated by forwardly placed horses. You and I completely disagree. Race number 4, our 9-race card today. We'll start out with Quizzical Cation at Monmouth. Last time out, finishing second to put the glass down, as a good horse. He's just the horse to beat in here. I didn't want to take him on top. I think Jason Service has won with 5 straight starters in New York, though.
Yeah. Completely understand not wanting to take this horse in New York, but Jason has been on a good run here. This horse will be, forwardly placed. And look, we've seen a lot of these often enough now where I just kind of wanted a little bit of a fresh face, and if that fresh face just so happens to come from a barn like Jason Service's barn, all the more better. Problem is you're going to have to take a short price on this horse.
The problem with this horse is not just the short price. The problem with this horse is that he has 9 starts, 1 win in 5 seconds, and he's been a short price the majority of his starts, and he's trained by Jason Service. He broke his maiden first time with Jason with a figure that gets him nothing in this race, and then he got fast in his last 2 races, and he wasn't a super short price. I'm not going to knock him, but you have to admit, this horse is a little camera shy, Anthony.
Oh, I don't disagree. I also think, though, when you go to a barn as prolific as Jason's, it's almost like you've had 2 careers. No offense to prior trainer. Jason's only run this horse 4 times.
Okay, but he also has 2 seconds.
He does. Listen.
And the maiden win is not going to get him a thing here.
No. But his race 2 back and his race last time makes him. The race 2 back wins it.
He's going to be 6-5, and it's Jason Service, and I don't need it. But he can certainly win this race.
Yeah.
I'm not against him. I just think he's just a terrible bet at a short price. I think Sneakiness, his last race, is actually sort of, people are going to misjudge that race. I actually think he ran pretty well. He was down on the inside for pretty much, that comment, 2-3 upper. This guy was down on the inside, and you did not want to be on the rail, I thought, on January 4th. I think this horse was badly affected by being down in a dead rail for the majority of the running of that race, and I think Sneakiness, he runs back to his race 2 back. He's going to win this race and certainly be tough. He's the one horse that's fast enough to beat Quizzical Cation if he runs his best figure. His best figure is 1 race of his career. I think he's very dangerous here. What do you like about Coach Villa?
I feel like Coach Villa's in the same ilk since the claim. Chris Englehart gave him the 3 months, and I thought he ran back. I thought he ran well in back-to-back starts in the race. I liked the race last time because this is a horse who, in the past, has had some trouble on wet tracks, yet ran one of the best races of his life, if not the best race of his life last time. I think that just indicates.
He was stalking in the best part of the racetrack and just sort of running along in the case of the field, and you've got him well ahead of Sneakiness, who he beat by 3/4 of a length, and Sneakiness was on a dead rail. So I'm going to have to disagree with you there, and I thought his win 2 back was a function of a fast pace that completely collapsed. Stage Left will show his win, I think, at Saratoga a few races back. I don't know what to do with this horse, but I'm scared of Wesley Ward chipping in. You had that first or second that won the other day, and Wesley is a trainer that he seems to win in bunches, and maybe he's shipping in, and he means business because he'll enter a lot in scratch, and I'm scared of him, and I think this horse is very dangerous. He's not fast enough, but he's dangerous.
I want to use this horse protectively a little bit. Look,
you don't have him in your top 4.
I don't have the horse 5th.
I mean, don't you think he's considerably more likely to win this race than Tale of Mist? I
obviously don't, since I put Taylor Mist 3rd and I put him.
So you think Taylor Mist is more likely to win than him?
I think again, Tale of Mist is
who is 4 for 39 lifetime.
Yeah, I completely. Yeah,
more likely to win than Stage Left.
Tale of Mist is in the best form of his life. And this horse is, like a lot of layoff lines with this horse. I think he's susceptible to others. If he doesn't get away from there,
we disagree again.
Yeah.
Race number 5. Race number 5 was affected by scratches. The Italian American coming out of this race, Dangerous Edge coming out of this race, 2 potential players. You have the first-time starter on top, Jerry the Nipper.
Yeah.
Is there a tip on this horse?
Nope. Jose Lascano is having a fine winter, leading rider right now. He rode Brooman first time out. He's making the switch here. This is a little bit more of a. I don't know.
Do we know the story with this horse? That he's a $300,000 weanling purchase, seemingly a buyback for the owner who bred the horse? Do we know the story?
We do not. I do not know the story.
Okay.
I don't.
Any pedigree on this horse? This horse
is got the one foal that.
Horses a half to Freedom Prince, who's a rare foal from Freedom's Child. And this is the second one. Obviously, you've got Liam's Map, and Liam's Map was owned by Vinny Viola, who owns St. Elias Stable. So that's probably where that came from. Yeah, I don't know. I think the horse better be a runner, because if the 10 runs back to his last race, this field's in trouble. He ran it. A tremendous race last time, and I thought this was not a great job by our terrific chart callers, because he is the number 7 in this race. I think it's important to watch, because you'll very clearly see if he gets left there, and you see how he's pushed over and the door is totally shut on him, and it's really pretty clear that he had real trouble at the start. And we'll show you the pan, and it's one of the things where if you watch the pan and head on together, you get a full picture of what really happened here, because he doesn't seem to break that badly on the pan, but he does get shut off, and now he's ended up like 2 to 3 lengths back. This was an absolutely wicked pace that completely incinerated it here. Yet he gets shut off at the start, and he rushes up the 2 to 3 lengths to engage in this wicked pace. And it's not Dylan's fault. I mean, Dylan realizes I'm going to look like an idiot if I'm grabbing this horse and dragging him back, because even in that fast pace running up there, he was turning his head. I thought this horse ran absolutely fabulously last time, and if he runs back to that race today, he's a virtual cinch.
He's a big player in here. My problem with him is, in both of his starts, I kind of felt like he did not break.
But that's
cleanly.
not true. He actually was interfered with the start, which is why I showed the head on.
But you don't feel that he's
not coming out. I feel that when other horses force you in and out, it's not your fault.
Right, but
I feel like if a guy pushes you on the subway tracks, you didn't fall in the subway tracks.
I agree with that, but I feel like him.
Well, I'm not sure you do.
I don't feel like he's breaking as cleanly as you need to.
We disagree. The number 13 Brewman is a second-time starter for Linda Rice, who chased in that very tough field and took money in a very loaded maiden race.
4-1.
It's a second-time Linda Rice horse, so expect the horse to run better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be surprised. If Jerry the Nipper is somehow favored over Impetuous and even Brewman, he must be a runner, because Impetuous, I think in my mind, is supposed to be 6-5 in here, especially when you've given what is left in this race. We'll see. Maybe some other oddball firster will take money. Race number 6. I guess this race, I mean, to me, it's just scratched down. I don't know how you go beyond the 5, 6, and 14 in this race. We agree in here. We'll take a look at Bears Mafia. And Bears Mafia and Violent Delights, one of these two are probably going to win. I don't really think this is a race that deserves that much discussion at this point.
I agree. I don't even know if you have to go as far as the Honest Town.
The race you didn't like, the Honest Town, and when he was 50 lengths the best, when he got just murdered at the start in that race and still won, and then he's coming out of 2-mile races. I think to cut back a little bit, and this is a much easier field. I think you have to respect the Honest Town in here, who does like a wet track. His win 3 back was very good. And why? You think either one of these horses are completely trustworthy? I mean, Bears Mafia is coming back on a few months, and it's been, 4 months since we've seen him, and Violent Delights. I mean, if Violent Delights runs back to the Saratoga race, he's going to win. And, what happened last time with him, though?
I don't know.
He was dead empty in that race.
Yeah.
He just had absolutely nothing last time. I mean, you can't be confident with Violent Delights. He was bad last time.
Yeah, no, I don't
And
disagree.
dropping off bad races, granted, I agree with you in this race, but I'm going to have the 14. I'm going to have 5, 6, 14 here on my tickets. I think you have to be very, very concerned.
Yeah, probably the safe play.
I mean, who else realistically on paper can win this race?
No.
I've got Our American Star in there, my old favorite. Race number 7. Race number 7, no question, Financial Stability is the horse to beat in here, and we'll take a look at his last race. And 1029, your horse, actually ran pretty well in this race as well. I just got to tell you, I'm getting a little tired of Financial Stability, and even though he's way the horse to beat in here, he's now 1 for 5 with 2 seconds and 2/3 and a lot of short prices for a barn. And don't forget, he didn't lose the favorite last time. The favorite didn't run last time. He lost to a big price. Now, the big price is okay, but I got to tell you, where was his finish here? And I think this is a horse that ran well in Saratoga, and he has not lived up to his performances at Saratoga. He might be a horse that actually runs better up in Saratoga.
He's a Saratoga horse.
Because
I thought about that.
He's a tough horse for me to take on top in this race.
The other 2 alternatives, well, the horse you put on top, Daddy Knows, who makes some sense. I'm not sold that Daddy Knows might want a little more ground, and may need a race off the break.
7 furlong race is fine.
And Tiergan, who
was brutal last time.
I don't know what happened last time. I don't know what happened last time.
He was wide. Well, he was also badly affected by a track that was kind of speed, and it helped, especially in that race with Big Mountain. And he was wide trying to chase, but he was bad. He didn't do any running. I got to use him again because I did make a big bet on him last time, and he was compromised. I don't know where else you really go. As far as Daddy Knows, I just thought Daddy Knows was showing some signs of coming around for Linda, obviously over his head in the Albany, but just the fact that Linda even took a shot in the Albany shows that she was thinking he could be promising. And her numbers aren't great, but her numbers aren't terrible when she comes off these kind of layoffs at Aqueduct, these sort of 4 to 6 month layoffs. So I thought the horse was okay in here. I don't really like Beachside. Dave Donk, as much as I love Dave, is 0 for 21 off the claim, 0 for 18 on the dirt. And Beachside, he should have won last time. I mean, he probably would have been better off a little outside, but I think the rail was bad last time.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people did. I did not.
I think the only other horse I would even contemplate would be 1029, but another one of those races where I felt 5s, 8s, and 9s.
What about True Blue? Isn't Eric Cancel supposed to, True Gold, excuse me, isn't Eric Cancel with a scratch of Imaginer and Oh My Papa supposed to be aggressive with him? True Gold?
Yeah, I mean, there's better races than when he is forwardly placed.
And Jose Lozcano should be aggressive too with Daddy Knows. When you're given the scratches in here, I think that both True Gold and Daddy Knows would benefit from aggressive rides in this race because I don't think there's a lot of speed after you scratch the 1 and 3.
Tell you what, I know it looks like it might not be possible. I wouldn't mind seeing Manny get aggressive with financial
But he's not going
today.
to, so that's not going to happen. You have to talk about realistic possibilities. And I think it's very unlikely that financial stability is on the lead in this race. But I think realistically, True Gold could be on, and I think that Daddy Knows could be.
Okay.
They're quicker horses. Not that much, but a little bit quicker. We'll see. I feel as though financial stability is just one of these horses going to take a lot of money.
You might be right.
Just getting a little tired of his act, you know? He's had a lot of chances for a barn that's supposed to win when they're short prices, and they usually do. Race number 8, Mr. Buff. Did Mr. Buff get a favor drawing the rail, or does it not matter with him anymore? Because he doesn't need to have the lead early. He seems to be able to stalk a little bit, but I think his hand gets a little forced here. I guess it depends what you think Aleatone's going to do. He's a tough horse to beat, though. He's just been super consistent. But in 4 of his last 6 races, the 4 wins, he's beaten Dynamax Prime. This is a significantly tougher race than running against Dynamax Prime.
And last year when he won this race, he got the benefit of a gigantic speed racetrack where things were kind of against Sunny Ridge. I think the fact that they've shown he has another dynamic now. Yeah, I'm 99% sure it was a big speed track because I can't believe he paid that kind of price. The fact that he, at the age of 6 now, has shown this new ability to rate, I think helps. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right? I also wonder what happens if we get some rain here, because Laytone really does not handle wet tracks. And I would be very curious to see how this unfolds. If you take the fight out of him and just put Mr. Buff on the lead, do you let him go and sit around?
I think Leotone's going to go. I think you're going to see an aggressive ride from Jose. I think
then
that's
I think
right
you could see
move.
Mr. Buff sit off of him.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, what is Stan the Man going to do? We'll get to him. We'll talk about Sir Winston, who obviously could take advantage of hitting. I could never bet Sir Winston in here. I've yet to see him do anything that particularly excited me. He rode a gold rail in one of the greatest rides, in big race rides. Joel Rosario was taking a shot at Gary Stevens' ride on Victory Gallop with this ride on Sir Winston. And he got it done because not only did he get this exceptional ride and trip, but Tacitus got a ridiculously bad trip. But also I know he beat a good horse who finished 3rd in Jovia, but he also rode the gold rail. I can't take this horse. I don't like this.
He's a tough take. He's a tough take.
I got him 3rd because I just didn't like anybody else, especially with small bears now.
Mark Cassie brought this horse back on the turf to help some sore feet. He's equipping him with glue-on shoes for the first time for this race. They were on the fence after saying the horse was going to come. They were on the fence up until last Monday, I believe, entry day, about whether you run this horse or not. I think you worry about that for sure if we do get some moisture, a horse that's wearing the glue-on shoes and the bad feet.
I don't worry about that. I think that's in 1983. I think that mattered. In 2020, I don't think that stuff matters. We've talked about this.
So you think horses with glue-on shoes that have bad feet, you think 25 years ago it affected them and now it doesn't?
Anthony, I think you're suggesting that he shouldn't be running.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
I'm suggesting. I'm going to tell you right now, when I first came to the racetrack, Barsha horses didn't win. We've had this discussion
do
before.
now.
It's not the 80s anymore.
No, I
These
understand
horses
that.
win with these shoes all
But
the
what
time.
I'm saying to you is if a guy's telling you he doesn't know.
But he's also telling you he's running the horse. I don't like the horse particularly, but I don't
just
think
saying there
the
are
shoe.
questions.
I think the shoe is. I think the shoe just doesn't matter anymore.
I don't know. I completely
I know,
disagree
I know,
with that.
I know. We disagree about pretty much most things in racing, and I don't particularly like this horse. But I will say one thing: he should get a pace.
Yeah.
And the best figure he ever ran, and arguably the best race he ever ran, was the Peter Pan when he got a pace to run into. So it's not impossible. He puts in that kick. We'll see how the track's playing. He's an interesting player in here. I'm not his biggest fan. I like Stan the Man today. The thing about Stan the Man's last race was he was a sort of they knew not to win this race. He was bet dead on the board. It's a heavy favorite in morning line. I thought he'd be a heavy favorite. I didn't disagree with David, and they didn't like him at all. He paid $740 in this race. He got a good trip to win it, so he didn't run great. It was more about, well, don't forget, a horse that might have won through the rider at the start, the horse who was favored. But the thing about it is, he still managed somehow to run a 93 figure and get the win. He probably would have finished second if the horse didn't throw the rider, especially when you consider who almost beat him in this race. Having said that, he's now second off a layoff. He gets a wet track that he likes. He's got speed, so he can't be compromised, but he can be close to the pace, and I think he's very dangerous in here. And I just think in looking at it, this is a big test for Mr. Buff. This is the first race recently, other than the out-of-town, the big race he's run in, where he's facing a field where there's some talent in here. And I'm not saying he's not a good horse, because he is, but he's going to have to run to beat some of these horses.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. He won last time, and we don't have to. You have to measure everything up by wins and losses. But he won last time when he probably shouldn't have won.
Well, he got an absolutely perfect trip.
Yeah, but
Beat
like
Adventus
you
by
said,
a neck.
yeah. Well, then that's what I'm trying.
It was. I think he wouldn't have.
He probably
won
moved a smidge too soon.
I don't think so. I just think he wouldn't have
Okay.
won the race if the favorite hadn't thrown his rider. And I picked him and bet him. But I don't think he would have won if that horse hadn't
So you
thrown the
feel like
rider.
you were a fortunate winner that day. I got it.
But I still think he ran a credible number, all things considered, a mile and eighth off a layoff.
And you'd have to assume that he should improve off of that effort with a race under his
But
belt.
Mr. Buff is good. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
They're the
Against
two.
Mr. Buff.
They're the two.
Race number 9, Hot Little Honey, I guess is the horse to beat in here. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that the horse that a few people like in here today, the one horse is going to take a ton of money off the rider change in last time out. I guess this horse is the horse to beat. It's really hard for me with these bottom level claimers, major claimers, to assess who the horse to beat is.
No, he's the horse to beat.
Yeah,
he
I
was
mean,
chasing
I
outside
guess.
last time against a horse that wired inside in a track that was very
Yeah.
kind inside speed runners. So he was actually against the flow of the racetrack, and I think he ran fine in there. I don't have an argument against him. I think that Kefaliani is kind of interesting. The problem with this horse is I picked him, then I saw Beer picked him, then I saw Aragona picked him. So I think he's carrying around the weight of the world, but it's hard to ignore the rider change. This is a significant rider change, getting Eric Cancel on this horse. And frankly, this horse did a little bit more running. He broke well last time and was just completely dragged out of the race. And his last race is not nearly as bad as it looks. So I actually think he's a little interesting. And getting a big rider change is going to help this horse. So I'm going to use him, the 9, because Broadway Angel is going to take money. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a tough horse to take. The problem with him is his last race is a total aberration. His first race was bad.
Right.
All he did was suck up on a gold rail on the inside while other horses had bad trips in there. He didn't do much running in what was a bad race. And I got to tell you something. Someone one day will tell me how Key Pit was 2-1 in his last race.
That was something, wasn't it?
Who was betting this horse?
That was something.
That was unbelievable. He may be the worst favorite I've ever seen in New York. I guess More Diamonds can win. He's kind of run out of chances, though. I think this field's tougher, but I guess he's another horse. Anybody else you want to talk about?
No.
You got Keep It 3rd. So maybe you were one of the guys who liked him last time.
I didn't like
Why
him
would you
last
like him? His dirt races are pretty strong. Which are you looking at, the 24 fig or the 31 fig?
He's got
Moved up in the wet track with the 31 buyer?
He's got Kendrick and blinkers. They'll be forwardly placed in a race
Oh,
where I don't know
blinkers.
if these
Oh,
horses.
what's the blinker data?
I don't want to do any blinker data.
Well, we had a deal.
We had-
We had a deal last Sunday. You were going to
I
have the
didn't make
blinker
a deal.
stats for me.
We had a.
We had a deal. You were going to come up with the blinker stats.
No, I don't think I did. We had a lunch.
They're horrendous.
We had a possible lunch bet. We missed it. We glossed over it today.
What's the lunch bet?
I don't remember what race it was.
The lunch bet was the horse has to win. It's not worth it. Anyhow, we're out of time.
Okay.
9 race card today. Johnny I up next with a reprise, the scratches and changes.